Next part's all about gathering information, and we're going to focus straight away on the different methods that you can use to get information out of people, to learn new things. And we're going to focus on questions first of all. The first type of question that we're going to look at today is closed questions. Closed questions are questions that have a limited range of answers. For example, do you think that politics works? Yes or no? The next sort we're going to look at is open questions. What do you think about politics in the UK? Another open question. Describe how you think the British educational system is serving students. No one-word answers there. They would be extended answers. The next one we're going to look at are called leading questions. I'm going to jump down to the next slide, and you can see in front of you a definition of a leading question. You may have heard of leading questions in the context of courtrooms, because a barrister is not allowed to ask a leading question. A leading question is when you lead or encourage or try to persuade someone to give an answer, to give a certain type of answer based on how you form the question. And the key word in here is it's a question that implies or contains its own answer. When people put questionnaires together, very often there are leading questions within that questionnaire, and it's something that you need to be wary of. An example is down here at the bottom, and this could be taken from a courtroom. Did Janice strike you in the face with her fist? Well, that's suggesting that Janice actually did hit someone in the face and that she used her fist. A non-leading question might be, what happened between you and Janice? Was there an altercation between you and Janice? Would be a closed question. What happened between you and Janice would be an open question. Did Janice strike you in the face with her fist? That's a leading question. We then need to look at this notion down here of funneling. And funneling is when you move from a closed question and then start to move into open questions. Equally, it's when you have open questions that lead into closed questions. So you will need, as part of this task, to think about these different methods of gathering information. You will have to write a questionnaire later on, and I wanted to show you how these open, closed and leading questions feed into a questionnaire. An open question, these ones here, that would be a text entry. And when I say text entry, I'm talking about, with a questionnaire, you're talking about question types. And when you come to use Google Forms later on, you will see there are different question types, and text entry would be the type of question that you would use for an open answer. Equally, text entry would be the type of question that you might use if you were going to ask a leading question. But be very wary. If you're asking Justin leading questions about what he's looking for in his app, and actually it turns out later that that wasn't what he wanted, you're going to struggle with that. So leading questions you should avoid altogether, but you should be able to recognize them. Then we've got the closed questions. The closed questions down here, these are the multiple choice, when you have a series of options that you choose from. Okay, so this again, it's a question type. Then you've got this one that you may not have heard of, the Likert scale. You may not have heard of the word Likert, but you've certainly seen these questions. Every time that you buy anything, it seems these days, you're given a questionnaire afterwards which will give you a scale from agree or strongly agree to strongly disagree, or like to dislike, and you've got a rating scale of 1 to 5. So it's a way of garnering someone's opinion, of gathering someone's opinion on a certain issue. And then of course you've got the yes, no, true, false questions. So that gives you an overview of all the different question types. and you are going to have to show to the moderator that you understand these different question types. We're going to have a look at another way now of gathering information, and that's through the observation of tasks. Now, in the context of the driving school, how could you do that? Well, it may be that you would choose to see how the client performs the task currently. Designers have long since known that what a client tells them they want and tells them how they operate is often actually quite different to the way in which they operate. Not because they're lying or they're being deceitful, but because they leave details out, or they forget that what they actually do is this, and they're leaving out steps which are really important and which will need to be rectified later on in the process if you don't realise that they need to be done. So, for example, how the client interacts with his customer currently. How is this information used? What information does he actually gather? Is it more than what he says? What does he do with it? Has he got different databases that he puts it in? Does he write it on different cards, different bits of paper, and so on? So that's what you'll be looking at in order to try to work out how he gathers information. Also, what about the existing documentation? What existing documentation is there? Are there any help files? Are there any documents that tell you how he currently operates? And any systems that he uses? So, now that we've looked at different ways of gathering information, we've looked at question types, we've looked also at questionnaires, but we'll put questionnaires to one side and focus on question types. We've also looked at how he might gather information with observation of tasks and also analysis of existing documents. So your task is this. You will need to look at the letter again, and from the information that you can gather from that letter, you will need to email Justin. When you email him, make sure that you're using the appropriate register. And when we talk about register, we mean the right kind of language. You're not going to be saying, "Hello mate, I'm a designer, how are you?" You're going to be sounding like a business person and trying to be professional in what you do. So your spelling should be accurate, your language should be formal. You are presenting yourself as a professional who wants to sell something to this customer. And to do that, you need to come across as though you know what you're doing. And being professional is really key in this. So in your email, you're going to introduce yourself and you're going to say things like who you are. You're going to talk about what you do. And you're going to say that you have read his letter. You're going to explain what you are going to do for him. And you are going to ask for any further data or information that you require. You should be able to think about a couple of things that you can ask Justin. Engage your brain and think about what else you would like to know in order to be able to develop a solution as effectively as possible. Once you've done that, I would like you to then explain in this email how you will collect any additional information. And this is really your chance to show to the moderator that you understand open questions, closed questions, and funneling. And this is really a clever way of managing to get you to explain that in this task. But it needs to be in there, and it needs to be in your own words. Don't just copy and paste. Put it in your own words, put it in good English, check your spelling, and check for clarity and understanding. That is the section on gathering information.